Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to Crypt Finder. I'm so happy you could swing by the crypt this evening as I continue my look at forgotten made-for-TV classics. Now, tonight, we're leaving civilization behind. We are headed into the sun-scorched wilderness of the Old West, where a seemingly quaint little mining town, oh yeah, they'll welcome you there with open arms and a warm smile and some dark secrets. I don't know why my Old West voice sort of sounds like Chester from Gunsmoke. I think maybe I watched way too much television when I was younger. Anyway, point being, hitch up your wagons there because we're going to visit a little place that might just cost you your immortal soul. From 1971, the movie is Black Noon. This is a made-for-TV horror western, which in and of itself is somewhat rare. This movie is directed by Bernard L. Kowalski. It features a great cast, including Roy Thynes, Yvette Mimieux, and Ray Milland. This film blends the sort of rugged landscape of the Western genre with more of the supernatural elements, creating a pretty unique atmosphere. So, Westerns with a horror twist, that is a very, very unique breed of animal. You can think about some films such as Curse of the Undead from 1959. We have vampires in the Old West in that movie. Or The Devil's Reign from 1975. It's not the Old West, but certainly we have Satanist out west. And then you have Bone Tomahawk, for example, from 2015. But Black Noon stands out as a particularly odd entry here in this particular subgenre because it was a made-for-TV movie. Our story is set in the unforgiving American West of the 19th century. Reverend Keyes, who's played here by Roy Thynes, and his wife Lorna, who's played by Lynn Loring, are on a perilous journey by covered wagon, driven by their mission to spread Christianity and to carve out a new life in California. But the harsh desert has some other plans for them here. Their wagon ends up being damaged. Their water supply is greatly depleted. Hope is slipping away. They are on the verge of death when, miraculously, they are rescued by a man named Caleb Hobbs, who's played by Ray Milland. He's the mysterious sort of leader of an isolated desert settlement known as San Malayas, and they take John and Lorna back with them. The townsfolk all seem hospitable, but there seems to be something just under the surface that's a little bit unsettling. The very beautiful Deliverance, who's played by Yvette Mimieux, takes a particular interest in John. John and Lorna, they're grateful, but they're also a little wary, but they decide to stay in San Malayas to regain their strength. However, it's not too long before Lorna senses something is deeply wrong with the town and its people. John, too, is very haunted by nightmares where a bloody, tattered man is constantly chasing him, really giving hints that something sinister is at play. Roy Thynes was already well known to TV audiences for his role in The Invaders from 1967 to 68, popular sci-fi series where he played architect David Vincent battling an alien invasion. Now, personally, I always enjoyed Thynes a little bit more when he leaned into the heavier, more villainous roles, including one that I've covered on this channel before, another wonderful made-for-TV movie called Satan's School for Girls. But here, he's the epitome of the righteous man. As an actor, he makes an interesting choice, and I gotta give Thynes credit here. When he preaches a sermon that ultimately causes a crippled boy to be able to walk, he seems to be mimicking a certain kind of like fire and brimstone delivery. He's affecting some vocal changes. He's swaying and moving in a way it might not appeal to everyone. I can certainly see some people watching this and thinking it's really overwrought, but just the notion that he's trying something unique here while preaching, which can in and of itself be performative in a way. I just think it's commendable that as an actor, he was willing to go that far out there on a limb. Yvette Mimieux portrays Deliverance. She is a mute who's mysterious, very seductive character. She does it well. She was in another made-for-TV movie that I covered called Snow Beast from 1977. In that movie, frankly, she just looked kind of bored. And so I just have this sneaky feeling she enjoyed leaning into a little bit of the darker side of this character. Milland is solid as always. This is an Academy Award-winning actor who's best known for his roles in The Lost Weekend from 1945 and also Dial M for Murder from 1954. But he often dipped his toes into the horror genre with very noticeable roles, including The Man with the X-Ray Eyes, the classic ghost story The Uninvited, and The Thing with Two Heads. Here, he provides the distinguished yet menacing character of Caleb Hobbs. Lynn Loring plays John Keyes' wife. She was a former child actress. She had appeared in a variety of television shows and films. She spent 10 years on the soap opera Search for Tomorrow. And here as the increasingly anxious and terrified Lorna, it's just all nicely done. The actress had very wide eyes, which was just perfect because along with her acting chops, she could definitely showcase her ability to convey increasing fear and terror. In other words, you definitely believe her in this role.
Lorna, you're not well enough to travel.
I will never get well here! Never!
Lorna.
If you are such a miracle worker like they think you are, like you think you are, then heal me, Miracle Man.
I want to help you.
Heal me.
I want to help you.
Do you? Or do you want me to die?
Roy Thynes and Lynn Loring, by the way, they were married at the time that they made this film, and just a couple years later, they also played husband and wife in another made-for-TV movie that I featured called Horror at 37,000 Feet from 1973. Henry Silva also shows up here as a mysterious man in black called Moon. Silva was, of course, very well known for playing that tough, hard-as-nails kind of mobsters and gunslingers and thieves. He was also very famous in Italy for Poliziesco, which is a series of sort of like spaghetti crime films. But he was also in the original Ocean's 11. He was in The Manchurian Candidate, and because I'm such a horror junkie, I remember him very vividly from 1980's eco-horror film Alligator, where he played Colonel Brock, and he meets a particularly toothy end. One other notable cast member here is Hank Worden. He was a character actor very familiar to the Western genre. Here he plays Joseph. He's one of the townspeople, but so many people are going to recognize that distinctive drawl when he speaks, and they will remember him, of course, as the mysterious waiter and spirit guide from the Great Northern Hotel in Twin Peaks. Black Noon delves into the struggle of good versus evil, exploring how even the most righteous can be seduced by the forces of darkness. It's not unlike a longer episode of The Twilight Zone in that it presents a cautionary tale about the dangers of blind faith and the corrupting influence of power. The film's combination of Western and horror elements, as we've already discussed, that creates a really unique atmosphere of mounting dread, with that stark desert landscape serving as the perfect backdrop for the terror that unfolds. Yes, there are way too many nightmare shots, dreams where actors are running in slow motion against a black sound stage with fog machines pumping left and right. Yep, I totally agree with you there. But if you were a fan of folk horror, you might want to think of this one, not necessarily in the same vein, but as a companion piece to that subgenre. I know the film is 55 years old now, and so, yeah, I probably don't need to be worried about spoilers, but that's just me. I'm not going to give anything away. So I'll be sort of vague if you think about The Wicker Man in terms of someone who maintains their faith, and that ultimately leads to what happens to them. This is a film more about giving in to temptation and seeing how that impacts your life. In the world of made-for-TV movies, Black Noon is remembered for, again, eerie mood, strong performances, the successful melding of two distinct genres, making it a real standout of the era. So I think that will do it for us for right now, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your trip back to the Old West. please hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have seen this movie, please let me know what you think of it down below. It's out there. It's on YouTube. It's free. You can watch it anytime that you want. So until next time, everyone, stay curious and stay scared.